Welcome, everyone. We're going to give it just a little bit while people are joining the room, and then we'll get started. All right. Welcome. I'm Rob Chambers. I'm the VP of Platform Strategy for Lightspeed Systems. I'm excited to have everybody here today with us for the Lightspeed Learning Lab. This was a series created on input from you, our clients, to help prepare for back to school. The Lightspeed Learning Lab is a 5-part series of short 30-minute webinars that are designed to summarize best practices, feature updates, new services, training and support resources, and help you maximize your partnership with Lightspeed and understand everything we have to offer to save you time and support your district priorities. These 5 sessions will be recorded, so you'll be able to share those with your team on demand at any time. If you have questions, please type them into the chat window. And your questions are important to us. We'll be answering those at the end. So please go ahead and do that. There will also be a short survey at the end of the webinar. Please fill that out. That helps us make sure that we are meeting your needs. Rob, if you want to go to the next slide. There we go. Before we dive into the session, I want to share with you a little bit about the schools that we work with and understanding that we know the challenges that you're facing. As an organization, we're committing to helping you with those challenges, whether it is guarding against cyber threats or with increasing student data and student and teacher wellness, or dealing with student data safety concerns. We spend a lot of time asking questions and understanding how to inform our product roadmap. So to start that out, you're actually going to see a poll pop up here with a couple of questions for you. What is your biggest challenge as you head into this next school year? Student safety, mental health, cost of license management, AI apps, data privacy, and addressing the digital divide. We'll give that just a minute. We still have answers coming in here. All right. So number 1 looks like data privacy and security. We'll certainly be talking about that. AI is a climbing concern. Rob is going to talk about that a little bit today, but stick around for the end where we talk about the upcoming sessions. We have a whole session on AI coming up for you. And obviously student safety and mental health is right up there with it. So we'll be talking about all of those items over the course of today and the upcoming webinars. Over the past year, we've been very busy doing a lot of exciting new things and have more features to come. Many of you are aware of the Lightspeed filter, but may not be aware that we also have safety and wellness, engagement impact, and a fully redesigned classroom management teacher experience that we just launched this month. So some of the exciting releases you'll see here on the slide with the live activity parent portal. Rob's going to show us some of these things as we go forward. But we're working hard to surface insights to you around the edtech apps, the access to your devices, to help you reduce costs, improve security. We're working with counseling and student safety departments to ensure safe, proactive approach to safety and wellness. And we know that transparency is important. And so we've recently updated our enhanced parent portal, which we'll be talking about in a bit as well. And in our digital insight, a simple way to manage and publish your district use apps. So these are just a few of the things that we've released recently, but more to come. So let's go ahead and jump into today's session. I'd like to introduce you to Rob McCartney, our Director of Client Success Engineering. Rob and his team work daily with school districts to ensure that they're set up for best practices, making sure they have all the important information on how to get everything configured for Filter and all of our other products in a way that will set you up for success. So with that, Rob, take it away.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for joining us today. We appreciate your time. As you can see, we have some learning objectives today. So we're going to be going over a little bit on how and the best practices for maintaining your data syncs, updating all of your smart agents to the latest versions, managing the prerequisites, AV exclusions as we've had some changes to those, as well as how to use custom categories versus allow and block lists, and then some of the best practices for those. We'll also be talking about some live reporting where you can get some troubleshooting and other access. Of course, we'll be making resources available to you as we go through this, as well as a copy of this presentation at the end. So with that, let's jump into a little bit about the data syncs. What we're showing here right now on the screen are all the different data syncs that a client could be using. For those that are primarily using Filter, you're probably pulling your users in one of two ways, either Google OU or with the LSDS tool, formerly known as the Relay Directory Sync tool. When we look at the Google OU Sync to prepare for the next year, one thing that we would recommend is that you re-authenticate your account to the Google OU structures. To do this, you simply just need to log into your Lightspeed filter, deauthorize, and then reauthorize your account. This needs to be a super user account for Google. And this just starts a new token. Those tokens are only valid for 1 calendar year. So re-authenticating will renew that license or token for another year. Of course, while you're in there, it'd be advantageous to go ahead and look for any new OU structures you've made. And if any of those new OU structures are staff, go ahead and mark those as such. When we look at the LSDS tool, we had an upgrade over the summer to a new version 1.6, that has some security enhancements. So be sure to upgrade to that version. It has a little bit different of a process for authenticating. So we've linked a video that will show you how to prepare and use that new piece, as well as going in, marking any and adding any new OUs or security groups, and then marking those that are staff as such. Those that are also using the classroom platform, or maybe with Alert and trying to pull in SIS data, a lot of you are probably using GG4L. So one thing to know and to take a look at is to make sure when you log into the GG4L Connect portal that you look when your sharing date ends. Some of those have expired, and we just need to renew that sharing date to us. For those that are not using PowerSchool as their SIS, you'll just want to make a look at some of that data in the Connect portal. Make sure that you're seeing your 2023-24 data. And as long as it's in there, then what we would recommend is reaching out to your dedicated success engineer to archive any classes or structures that were from the prior year. It's important to note for those that are using PowerSchool that data does not become available until the start of your 2023-2024 calendar year. So if that date has not been hit yet, you're not going to see that in the GG4L Connect portal. But once it's there, go ahead and follow the same process. Reach out to your dedicated engineer so that we can clean out any data from last year to ensure that your teachers are seeing everything for the new year. Those that are using Google Classroom, all you have to do is go into the Lightspeed portal and you can run an archive of all old classes. So any classes that have been marked archived or no longer in use in the Google platform, we'll go ahead and then remove those. And then lastly, if you've added any new teachers, make sure that you mark those verified teachers so that they can get to their classes. One new piece that our team has been working hard on is making a direct connection to a lot of these systems with our One Roster API. So this is a new piece. I would say if you're interested in looking to migrate and use the new One Roster API, please reach out to your success team. We can make sure that we get this scheduled with you and walk you through that migration. Next, we're going to take a look at some of the Lightspeed agents. You'll see here we have multiple different agents, some that auto-update and some that do not. It's important for those that do not automatically update Windows, Mac OS, and the network agent that we go ahead and update those so that you have the latest version, security features, and any other pieces that Lightspeed has implemented over the summer ready for those devices. For Windows, we're recommending that you use 2.4.1 as your default version. We will have a link to a video to show you how to upgrade both Windows and Mac OS right from the UI. Simply log into the filter dashboard, go to software, and from there you can change your minimum version. For the network agent, we do have a new version of 1.7 out that runs on Ubuntu 20. It's a simple wget command to go ahead and process and update those. For Chrome OS, iOS, or if you're using Cloud DNS, all of these update automatically when we release. There should be no actions that you as a district need to take to get those updated. Next, we're going to take a look at some of the overall management tips and tricks for success. We have had some changes to our network prerequisites as well as our AV exclusions. So I do want to share with you where you can find those. Those are all going to be available on our support portal. So if we take a look here, we will have all of them laid out for your network exclusions that need to be in place. They're all listed right here. And then also for AV exclusions. We do have AV exclusions for both Windows and Mac OS. So please make sure that you're getting those in place and updated to start your next year. Then we're going to take a look at custom categories and how to use wildcards. So if I go to the filter UI, one thing I can see here is once I get into our default rules, if I scroll down just a little bit, we're going to see a section called categories. Across from categories, there's going to be a plus sign. From here, I can easily make any new category. So maybe I want to start categorizing things for high school students that they should be allowed to. I can go ahead and name that category. I can go ahead and put in a description as well and click save. That's going to make a whole new custom category that you'll see appear here. From there, I can simply search for any domain at the top that maybe I want to recategorize. Search for that, click on the pencil. This will take me to a new window where I can then search for that new category that I've created. And then I would also encourage putting any notes in here. You can put in the date that it was recategorized, maybe who requested it or who the one is that processed it, because you can always go back then and look at those notes to see why it was recategorized. It's important to note that you can recategorize domains and subdomains. This helps greatly to easily and quickly get students and staff members to the things that they need to, as well as recategorizing things leave space for your custom allow and custom block list. When we talk about the custom allow and custom block list, oftentimes it's very advantageous to use things like wildcards, and especially with your custom block list. So you can see here, I do have in my custom block list some wildcards. So something like asterisk unblocked games asterisk will then look through the decrypted URL, the full URL string, and anywhere where there's a match of unblocked games in the URL string, the user will be just offered out a block screen. So this is a very easy way to control some of those Google sites and other things that are constantly spinning up that students are trying to use and maybe getting them distracted throughout the day. We have had some questions also about different legislation out there for managing like TikTok. You could also use an asterisk TikTok asterisk, so that way anytime it appears in that URL string, they'll be blocked. Go ahead and we'll jump to the next slide here. So now we're going to take a look at some different new features and some other best practices for overall policies. And one thing to make sure that you understand is how we inherit our policies. We will have a link to our policy inheritance help document that shows you all of these pieces. But what's really important to note is when you're working within your filter UI and you're at the root level, adjustments made there will inherit down into your group, your subgroups. So if you are trying to make some granular filtering policies, you may want to make the adjustment at the top and then jump into a sub OU that maybe needs additional access and you can allow it from there or maybe block it. Some other new pieces that we have are our Smart Play. If you're not used or know much about our Smart Play is our way of ensuring that your students are getting YouTube content that is deemed by Lightspeed as educational. So what I'm showing here in our Smart Play help document shows an example of what a student would see when they're using and being filtered by Smart Play versus restricted mode. Restricted mode from YouTube is still, while it's good and it's blocking a lot of content, it's not always scrubbing out content that may be off topic for the student. So you can see here in this one example where it says it's a blocked video, this is something just music. Well, maybe that's not really educational. So enabling Smart Play will prevent students from getting to that. Some other new features that we have underneath the default rules. If you go to the recreation heading, you will see a new section down here called esports. It's been widely started to be adapted across districts, different ones using stuff like Rocket League and so on. So we decided to make this a lot easier to get your students the ability to do and participate in esports. So we've taken it upon ourselves to categorize a lot of these popular games used for esports. So you can simply turn this into an allow by turning it green and know that your students can get to it. As mentioned earlier, we also have an entirely new heading called artificial intelligence. By default, these first two categories, AI and then also AI generative, are blocked. We do have AI detective allowed, but this is going to allow you to see where your students are going to and how they're attempting to use AI. As well as underneath our blocked report, you will also see a new section called, underneath our searches, you will also see a new section here where you can look at suspicious AI queries. So you can start to identify students that are looking for AI for other reasons within the school. So maybe they're trying to learn how to cheat or trying to have an AI write a paper for them. You'll be able to identify those searches, where they went to, and take action upon those. A couple of other live features I want to show you is our live reporting and access scan. So we're going to first jump over to our live reporting. I'm going to go ahead and get these restarted. You can see here I have two different live reportings running for Angie Gables and Tim Carter. So by starting this session, which is under reports, web activity log, and then live reporting, this makes a direct connection to that client for 30 minutes. And in real time, you can see everything that they're going to and the decisions that are being made. So in this case, they went to Redbird courses and were able to get to that. We can also see here, they tried going to Brainly and it was blocked. You can take action directly from this report. If I click on this, I'll get the flyout window. I can go ahead and recategorize something if I want to. While a device is being controlled by live activity, any adjustments that you make in the filter will apply to that device in real time. This is where it comes in very handy to do any type of troubleshooting. So if students are unable to get to something, you can make the adjustments and then in real time, make sure that they're able to get to that again. When we're talking about how to identify to what students can and cannot get to, that leads us to our new access scan that will be released here soon. In this example, I'm showing Mrs. Smith's 5th grade math class. Here she has her curriculum and a bunch of links going out to different websites. But Mrs. Smith might not know if her students can get to this. So with a simple extension that can be installed, the teacher can go ahead and put in the name or email address of the student, click scan, and it's going to go ahead and take a look over that entire page. Let me go ahead and refresh here. And we'll scan this page again. As it scans, it's going to go ahead and look through all the links to make sure and see which ones are allowed and not allowed. The great part is, as it comes back and anything that is blocked, so in this case, the practice probability by card counting would link to poker.com. the teacher will be able to click email results, and that will go directly to your IT team to be able to take action upon it. Again, we have all of these resources are going to be available to you, including a 2023 success checklist. This will step through all of our different products to make sure that back to school goes as seamless for you as possible. There will also be some documentation in our professional services for any of those districts that might need additional training or other support. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Rob to go over some of the other new features that are just released and that are coming soon. Well, right, Rob Chambers gets reconnected. We'll go ahead and take a look at the new parent portal. The new parent portal features a lot of new great features that include granular controls to a lot of different social media things, such as YouTube, Instagram, and more. Rob,
Yeah, thank you, Rob.
On that?
So this is one of the things we heard. Our parent portal previously had the ability to do a shut off of the internet for a short period of time or for the rest of the evening, but we heard that there was a request for more granular controls, and so that's what we brought here: the ability for parents to leave the internet on but shut off those things that might be distracting the student while they need to be working on their homework. And so that's what the new social media controls and YouTube blocks are bringing to the table here. This is something we're going to continue to enhance and give you that power to spread the learning well beyond the school day. Let's go to the next one. Another one we've heard, Mac OS agents have been, I'll say, a little difficult to deploy, a little more difficult than Windows had been. That was due to some security changes that Apple made for Mac OS. And it removed some of our agents' ability to manage its own certificates like it does in the Windows platform. And so what we've done is we've gone back and we've worked out a new methodology for that. And that is coming to be released in the near future, which is the Mac OS certificate manager. What this will allow you to do is manage and deploy that certificate once for the life cycle of that device, and kind of get it back more into an easy implementation mode on par with what you have with the other operating systems. Flagged activity is a feature that many of you use, but we've heard a lot that the feature, the reporting needs to be improved, giving you enhanced ability to drill down to a specific user and new risk levels. And so that work is underway. So we've heard you on that, and new changes coming there to that as well. Let's go to the next slide, Rob. Okay, coming up in our sessions, as I mentioned, we've got the next session up will be the effective use of AI. So many of you flagged that as a concern. So please join us for that next Tuesday. And then we also have the creating safe and caring environment for the school year and maximizing the value and security and effectiveness of your edtech ecosystem. So these are all part of this series and ones that we definitely want to continue on. At the end, these will all be made available online to you. So please, use those resources as well. Let's see. I think we're going to go back and let me just give a little, sorry, Rob, a little pitch on the AI.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we know AI tools are becoming increasingly popular among students. Districts and staff are trying to struggle with how to deal with them. So as Rob mentioned, we have some new categories that are in the filter, but we put this session together. We've heard loud and clear that this is a concern. We're going to bring you some best practices and things that we can do to help you moderate the use of these tools in your environment. So join us next week for that. All right, and with that, let's go ahead and move on to our questions. So let's see, what do we have here, Rob? Do you have, okay, the first one, Rob, do you have instructions to install the access scan?
Yeah, so Access Scan is slated to be released here soon. You will be receiving a maintenance advisor or a notification in your inbox once that is live. We're just finishing up some different internal testing to make sure that everything is ready to go. But we anticipate getting it out to you very soon.
All right. How about this one, Rob? I've maxed out my custom allow and block list. What would you recommend?
When you start looking at maxing out any custom allow or custom block list, one thing I would make sure to do is go ahead and review that. And anything that is going to be a subdomain or a domain, move that into a custom category or recategorize in one, two of our hundreds of other categories that are out there. That will allow you to maintain and save space in those allow lists for things that need like wildcards or maybe different IP addresses. So yeah, using categorization or recategorization is always best practice.
We got a couple questions about live activities, so I'll kind of just cycle through these. So let's go to this one. Does live activity show everything that is blocked? Oftentimes we have pages that not fully load.
Yeah, so as you may or may not have caught on there, it's going to show not only if the top level or the main requested page was blocked, but also any blocked assets. So if a student is trying to go to maybe a news site and that news site has embedded URLs or links that is trying to pull from other domains, CDNs, you're actually going to see those listed as a blocked asset. So that's why it's so helpful in troubleshooting, because if a page doesn't load quite right or is looking a little off, turning on the live activity, you're going to be able to see those other callouts and make those adjustments to the policy.
And then let's go ahead and throw this one in there with it. Does unblocking a link for the live activity unblock it just for that student or the broader scope?
So the policies are always tied to the OU or the group structure where that user resides. So if you make a recategorization or alter something to the custom allow list, that's going to apply for everybody. We never apply to a single user. It's always applied to the group structure that user resides in.
All right. Rob, I'm going to take the next one because it's a little product specific, and that is, will the Access Scan work with Microsoft Edge browser? Yes, the initial launch is going to be Chrome, but we're still finalizing testing on Edge, and it will be released for Edge as well. All right.
I believe there was one in there about activity log. How long does it track for? So once you enable the live activity logging, that's good for 30 minutes. So any and all traffic from the moment that we make the connection to that agent for the next 30 minutes, it's going to capture. You can always renew the session outside of those 30 minutes if you need it to go longer.
There's also this one about live activity, Rob. Will it show the same data when looking at a Windows device versus a Chromebook?
Yes, it will. Yep. It's the live activity reporting is available for Windows, Mac OS.
I think, Rob,
Chrome
one thing
OS.
that might call out here, though, is that in a Windows or Mac environment, it will let you know if that was an SSL decryption versus not, because that's not necessary in the Chrome environment. For Mac and Windows, we'll have that information as well. Okay. We have a, where can I find links to the help guides?
All of our help documents, including our new on-demand video sessions, are available at our customer portal. You can get to that by just going to help.lightspeedsystems.com. And from there, once you log in, everything will be available to you.
A lot of questions about live activity. That's great to see that people are interested in this feature. Minimum agent version for live activity.
So it will already be available to you on the Chrome OS platform as those are upgraded. For Windows, you need to be in the 2.4 line, so 2.4.1. For Mac OS, I believe, Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 2.2.2. Yes.
Is there a way to sign up for the parent portal without the email summary? Can I manually sign up parents?
Currently, there is not, and that's because the parents, the way the tokens and everything work, the parent gets that initial email, and then they sign up for their account through that piece. This is done so that way you don't have to go in and help manually manage email addresses or passwords for that particular parent.
All right, and I think we're coming up on time. There's a few questions left that we haven't answered. We'll certainly reach out to those of you if we didn't get an answer to your question after the webinar, and make sure we get you the answers you're looking for. All right, thank you so much for spending this time with us today. At the end of the session, as I mentioned, you will see a short survey. We hope you'll take some time to help us out by filling that out. If you're interested in discussing our professional development training courses, please reach out to your client success manager. And thanks for joining us. Hope to see you at the next session.
Thank you.